Hey, did you watch the new Dora movie? According to the box office, you probably didn't, which is a shame, because it was a cute thing. Well, if you didn't and have interest, I just want to say there will be mild spoilers here, so if you don't like the smallest of spoilers, like how Swiper is in it, you might want to skip this until you see it, okay? So, Dora and the Lost City of Gold. I liked it. It was funny, which is to be expected from the director of the Muppet films and the writer of the Neighbors movies. It wasn't anything too great or original, but it works, which is something I never expected considering I've never been too fond of the Dora franchise. There's nothing inherently wrong about her show, it's just that it has the same flaws a lot of other preschool shows have. Their material is meant for the really young, so at a certain point there's little to no enjoyment in watching it. I was 7 by the time Dora entered the scene, at which point I was too old for the repetitive 3-obstacle structure she'd face each week. Admittedly, I was much harsher to the show when I was younger, calling the show stupid for talking to kids. Give me a break, we were all stupid kids at some point. But I've since come around on the show. I still wouldn't call it good. Again, not many preschool shows work for older viewers, oh well. But it works for its intended audience, and major props that one of the most popular modern preschool shows is focused on a Latina. Thus bringing us to today's topic, diversity.
Delicioso! Can you say delicioso?
She'll grow out of it.
See, aside from the involvement of talented people, part of what made this Dora movie look special was that it was nice to see a movie filled with people who look like me. I come from a Mexican family. So while I was never fully hyped for the movie, I was at the very least pleased to see an American film acknowledge that there are more than just white people in this country. For the longest time, we've only seen Hollywood focus on white stories, which ignores that America is a melting pot when it comes to people. Especially in the places that make these things. Sure, I can watch old El Santo movies or whatever else to see people like me. But why can't I see movies made in the country I was born in do movies with people who look like me? It's not like we don't make up a sizable chunk of the nation. And sure, we had movies like Coco and The Book of Life recently, but what's wrong with more? The bigger reason why this stuff matters is that it gives opportunities to people who normally don't get them. Dora star Isabella Moner is great in the movie. I'd even say she's what makes the movie work. Sure, the material is well written enough, but Moner makes it work even more because of her cheery, optimistic performance. I'm not saying it's the best I've seen all year, but I hope she gets some recognition come award season. A few nominations would be good, I think, and that's the thing. Moner is clearly talented, but how often do you think people who look like her get a shot? I'm not saying let anyone in, I'm just asking for a fair shot at these things. Hell, do you think Moner would have had a chance if Dora wasn't a property about a Latina already? I hope so, because she's good in here, but that's the issue. So many different kinds of people exist, especially in the US, but we still get hundreds of movies starring white leads per season, while we're lucky to see dozens of movies starring non-white leads within a year. Part of what made Dora work beyond the lead was how it leaned in on the culture. With few exceptions, the cast is largely made up of various people of color, right down to both Swipers and Boots being voiced by Benicio del Toro and Danny Trejo. Even when we eventually get to see the Incan people of the Lost City of Gold, they feel a lot more genuine than when we see whitewashed versions of them and other material. For me though, where we most see the culture shine is during a conversation with Dora and her grandmother. I'm not sure if there's clips of it, but I recommend watching it in the film with full context anyway. Maybe it feels typical to some, but for me it felt a bit personal and reminiscent of conversations with my own family members.
You're gonna get invited to some of these parties called raves. The music sounds like this. Go get it!
Of course, when I talk about diversity, I'm not just talking about more films with people who look like me though. Black Panther, Us, Get Out, and even the upcoming Little Mermaid remake are certainly good for the representation of black people. Crazy Rich Asians was one of my favorite 2018 films, as well as one of the best rom-coms in recent memory, all while providing some nice familiarity to the people being represented, and that representation makes it feel fresh despite it being nothing too new. In fact, even though I personally didn't care for the new Aladdin, I certainly can't complain much regarding the cast. Whether or not you think they did good, it is refreshing to see new faces on the screen, especially those that normally don't get to shine. So, diversity. It's cool, and so is this Dora movie. Hopefully this becomes the norm in the future, because diversity helps make derivative films feel more unique and personal, as is proven here. Just seeing characters speak a certain way, do things a certain way, or care for others or themselves a certain way can make all the difference. Maybe it won't connect the same way to certain viewers, but if I've been asked countless times to feel a certain way regarding white characters, I don't think it's impossible to ask for that same respect for people like me. See you next week.
Can you say delicioso?